Hey, check it out. Christine's got her hood back. Ta-da! That's what we did this weekend. Took a lot of struggles, a lot of fighting to get this hood from being in storage. Got the hoods, the hinges set up, got the hinges adjusted just right, got it all closing nicely. If you're interested in seeing how we got this done this weekend, stay tuned. All right, while Deuce is out here lazing in the sun, here's where Christine is. So I'm getting ready to put my hood on today. Hopefully all that will work out. My issue with this fit up is this radiator. I got a brand new radiator that I put in, and I'll put a link to a video of when I did the unboxing and install on that one. But when I put this radiator in, I was concerned about the height. The height of this. I had trouble with this inlet where the water returns into the radiator. This was a little bit low, and then this neck, the filler neck, was a little bit high. So I'm concerned about how much higher this is over my bulkhead than the original radiator. So when I go to put my hood in, I'm concerned that I don't have enough room underneath it, but I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't fit, I got to figure something out. But anyway, so let me show you my hood. Hood's over here. This has been in a warehouse for a little while, and I painted Christine a year and a half ago with GM's Pull Me Over Red and this Exalta Rival single stage urethane paint. And I've got all my other parts here. Those are the two braces and the cross bulkhead, the latch, one of my hood hinges, because the other hood hinge is already on the car. With the American Auto Wire system that I have, the bolts for the hinge go through the fuse box, so you have to have this in place long before you need it. So if you're interested in seeing that, I've got some videos from American Auto Wire. I'll put a link to that up here. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get started with this hood install. So the first thing we're going to start off with is a problem and a solution. So this hood it's been a year and a half since I painted it. It's been in a warehouse, and then as soon as I went to check it out, I flipped it over, and I was getting ready to start working with it, and I was making sure that these threaded embossings are ready for bolts. And then I noticed the bubbling. So there was bubbling here, and I had to end up repainting this whole section. So before we get started, let me show you that nightmare. So roll the tape. So this is ridiculous. I'm so disappointed in this. And it's scary. It really is. So I have paint failures. I have a paint failure here at the hinge, and also at the other side. It's exactly in the same spot on both sides. And I was puzzled because as I was trying to get this area ready to start attaching to the hinges, I was checking the threads and everything. I discovered that the paint was blistered. It had a little bubble. So I pushed in a bubble, and then I scratched it a little bit, and it popped. And then when it popped, it started to just peel back and peel back and peel back. So I've been working at it to see how far back do I need to go in order to find firm attachment. And I'm trying to figure out what went wrong. But if you'll notice, as this paint is coming off, look, you see that's got gray? Now watch the other side. The other side that I've been working on for a little bit now. You'll notice that there's this, if I can get a good angle. See that lighter color right there? Get right on it. See that division? So there's a primer here, and then another primer here, and I've got a primer to primer bond failure. And I don't understand why. But I don't know what happened. But it happened on both sides. It happened there and it happened here. A primer to primer bond failure. So I don't know what happened, but I'm going to go ahead and finish scraping this off, sand it. I've got the airbrush all set up, and I'm going to go ahead and touch this up and let this harden before I go ahead and mount this hood. So unfortunately, it went a little further than where I was initially starting to sand down here. As I started to put the air pressure to it, it ran its way back here. It ran its way back here into this channel. I don't know what's going on in these two corners, but I mean, I sanded everything else. So this is with a power sander. So that's with the DA, and you can see the DA started cutting it down and getting it down to the primer level. So I got good bond here. This has got excellent bond. This has got good bond. But I don't know what's going on over here. I really don't know. Now, since painting Christine, this hood, it's been a year and a half since I'm painting Christine. And this hood has been sitting in a warehouse ever since then. And this is the first I pulled it out. I mean, it's just been sitting, leaning against the wall. This is the first I've pulled it out. So what I'm going to end up having to do now is I'm going to mask off the rest of the hood. And I'm just going to paint this back part. I'm just going to paint basically the interior from that seam all the way back, or this brace. All of this. I'm going to just repaint that. And I'm going to leave everything else alone. I've kind of like rubbed my hand on it, and I just don't see any other problems. So I'm going to go ahead and set my sprayer up and go ahead and spray this. But it's a setback. I hope it doesn't go any further than this, but we will see. Alright, so I used my Eastwood detail gun. It's got a smaller tip than I like, but I thinned the paint out so that it would flow. And this is Axalta Rival single stage urethane. This is the old DuPont Emeron. It's the old formulation. What they now label is Axalta Rival 3.5. So hopefully, this will get it done. But that's going to do it for here. I need to let that cure. So it's a little bit of a setback. Hopefully the rest of the hood's fine, but we will see. All right, all I have to say is thank goodness it's on the underside of the hood. There's a slight difference. You can see the color difference a little bit. This is a little bit milkier. This is a little richer, and I don't know why. But I don't know. But nobody will ever tell once I put the hinges on and put the car, put it on the car. I'm going to try this. And worst case scenario, I end up having to remove the hood later on and repaint the whole thing. Who knows? But we're going to go with this for now. So I need to go pick up some hardware, and then we'll be able to start working on all the bracing as soon as this cures. So let me go ahead and pick that up, and then we'll come back and continue working. So let's go over where these pieces go. All right, we got the bulkhead, which fits in here. Of course, it goes like this, right? There's two bolts on the side of the hood on both sides, and then there's two cross braces. There's a cross brace that comes from the driver's side and one that comes from the passenger side. It goes underneath that, comes underneath this brace, underneath there, underneath this forward brace. So that all comes together. Now, on the front, on the wayfront, there's a chrome trim. So let me grab that. It's a chrome bull nose. And it's got 6 quarter-inch, 20 threads per inch, quarter by 20 studs that go in here, and I'm missing 2 studs. So what I'm going to do is I've got to take some, I got to take a bolt. I'm going to retap this, take a bolt, cut the head off, thread it in, and that'll get me in business for having this on the front. I'm going to take this outside. I'm going to polish this chrome, and that'll get me there. There's 2 of these bolts that hold this to the hood that come from the bird, the hood ornament. And my hood ornament is really pitted. It's in bad shape. So I'll show it to you. It's in bad shape, and there's no amount of polishing that's going to get this this bird back in good condition. Now, if I thought for a moment that this was the original GM 1956 bird that had been flying on this hood for 60 plus years, 70 years, however long it's been, I would have it re-chromed. But I can tell from the condition of the chrome here and the part number on here, I am pretty sure that this is way too clean to be from 1956. This is a reproduction bird. So on this side, you know, this has got to ride past the fender, so you need what they call a truss head bolt. And mine were old and rusty, so I just went and picked some of these up from the big box. And it's a big, what they call a truss head. It's a wide, flat fastener. This is 1/4 by 20. So these will go in here on the side, and it'll hold all that together. So this will go through with a nut on the backside, lock washer, hold it all together. So that's it for the fasteners. Now, let's look at this bulkhead. There's one thing that I want to point out about it. So the bulkhead has, or had, it had a cushion, or it had a gasket of some sort of seal that went on the surface, and you could see the staple holes. I don't know if you can still see them, but it's got staple holes from it holding an insulator that went in between here and the hood. So I'm going to have to make something up for that, and I know exactly how I'm going to do it. So let's put this on the side, and that's the first thing that we're going to do. So a long time ago, I built a little fountain pond on the side of my house, landscaping piece, and I bought this pond liner. This pond liner, it's real thin. It's thicker than a tire inner tube. It might be the equivalent of an old auto inner tube, but not a bicycle inner tube. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to cut me a long strip off of this, and I'm going to, instead of using staples, I am going to use contact cement to adhere this, and I'm going to show you how that's going to work by showing you my battery box. So I put in my battery box, and one of the things that I wanted is I wanted a rubber insulation. So I use that same thing, and I use contact cement, and you can see how well it's adhering. You can peel it off if you had to, but I mean, that's not going to move. So there's no need to put staples in that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue it down with the contact cement, and the fact that it's under the hood, it'll be pinched in place, nobody will be prying on it, so it'll be just that much easier. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right, here it is. You can see it's about as wide as my thumb. It's about 3/4 of an inch wide. I wiped it down with lacquer thinner to get both sides clean. So now I'm going to use some spray contact cement, and we'll go ahead and spray that surface and then spray this rubber surface, let them tack up a little bit, and then we'll apply it. So I'm using Gorilla contact adhesive. Alright, that ought to do it. Let that tack up for a couple of minutes. Doesn't take long. Alright, make sure I'm going to start in the center. Start in the center, make sure I've got it right. That's going to be it. I just apply it down the way. Plenty long enough. Plenty long enough. All right, I'll go ahead and cut that. When I put it on the hood, I'll go ahead and cut this to length and peel back what I don't need. But you can see that this is going to stay in place. I don't have to worry about all those staples. But it's got this. Now it's got this cushion. So I'm going to show you something that I'm sure everybody already knows. But this is what I'm going to do. I got a piece of aluminum foil and some detergent, just a little bit of water. But that's what we're going to polish this chrome with. Is we're just going to go over that. It's got a few little pits, tiny little pits. It's always had them. I've just lived with it. So I don't think that this bar is in bad enough shape to do anything with. But I'm just going to keep cleaning it like this. and it should eventually start to turn to a black paste. But I don't know that I need to really work it that hard. Using the aluminum foil, it's softer than the metal that you're polishing. So, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this whole bar. If I had some dry detergent, it would be better. And I'm going to go ahead and do this entire bar, and then we'll bring it inside, and then we'll replace those 2 studs. It was a bolt, now it's a stud. If you have to clean up these threads, that came out pretty clean. I was able to do it by hand. But if you have to clean up these threads, what you can do is you can put a nut on it first, and then when you finish, then you can run the nut over it, and it'll get that whatever that burred end, it'll get that squared up. So there you go, 2 of them done. Let's go ahead and put these on. So this is one. This is one right here. And what I need to do is I need to get 2 nuts. We'll take 1 nut, we'll put 1 nut on, take a second nut, jam them, and then you can turn the stud into the part. So I'm going to do that with 2 of these. And this is what I was talking about. So I've already got a nut on there. Put another nut on it. You take these 2 and you lock these 2 together. Lock those 2 together like that. Now you got like a head on it, and you can go ahead and tighten that in and bring it in. So we'll go all the way in. And I'm going to go all the way in until it stops, or at least I've got maybe 3/4 inch thread here. Yeah, it's about enough. And then break them apart. Now that's locked in there. Good as new. Good as new. One more to do over here. We'll do the same thing, and then we'll go ahead and get ready to mount it. All right, let's see how the bulkhead is going to go in now. I trimmed it. It doesn't ride up the little curves, so this is going to end up sliding in. Here, and now it's on rubber. See the rubber there? So now what I need to do is get these 2 braces in, because the braces go over that and over this. And I'm not quite sure how that's all going to come together. So probably need to finagle all of these things in at the same time, some sort of way. You know, I tacoed this hood when I was working on it, when everything was flimsy. And so there's 2 flat bars. There's a flat bar over there, there's a flat bar over here. And it's kind of in the way for shoving this in and out. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get it back in. I'm pretty sure I had this all mocked up before I finished painting everything. I had it all mocked up. Yeah, I could be able to get it in. There's that one. Here's this one. I'll go ahead and what I'll do is I'll start with those the 2 truss bolts on the 2 sides. We'll start with those. There we go. Shoot. Yeah, all right. So the truss head bolts, I'm going to get those in. Those will come in from over here. Right. So I'm sure I have some nuts somewhere. Let's see, what did I buy? I bought 3/4 inch. I bought 3/4 inch, and I think I bought half. But it looks like it only needs half. So let's go with those. Yeah, we'll go with the shorter ones. Right here. That'll be just fine. Instead of having too much sticking out. And I'm going to continue it with the zinc plated look. You know, it's shiny, but I could try to spray it with something that makes it look different, but why? I don't know. So let's see if we can get this in. Like that. Need a lock washer. And a nut. Yep. We are cooking with gas now. Second one. Man, nobody's gonna know. I don't know if the original factory one was a flathead or clutch head or what it was, but we're gonna go with what we got here, and this will look just fine. All right, 1/2 inch. All right, so let's go ahead and put the crossbar on. And I'm looking, it looks like the holes for the bird, the hood ornament, are pretty close. They're not exact, they're not where they need to be just yet. But hopefully all this will go in. Hopefully it'll all line up. Looks like it's pretty close. Never did test this on the hood, but I didn't make any modifications to this front, and this is the hood that this piece came off of. So it would make sense to me that it fits. All right. So I've got a series of a whole bunch of nuts and washers here. So these are just miscellaneous. These are all 1/4 inch. I have 1/4 inch nuts, 1/4 inch flat washers, 1/4 inch lock washers. So let's see if I can't get them all started. Get them all started, and then we'll be able to tighten them up. You know, sometimes you need a little bit of persuasion. So I've got some of these carpenter's clamps, and these are very, very helpful. I've used these a bunch to try to just pull things in alignment when they need a little bit of persuasion. There you go. Pulls it tight enough, just enough for me to get the washers and the nut started, and then you'll use of course the nut to draw it tight. So check this out. Even with just having these things finger tight, look what happened to the holes where the bird goes in. They're lining up, both of them. So that's looking good, looking really good. All right, so let me go ahead and I'll start tightening all this up. I need to put as long as those 2 holes are there, those are the only 2 that I'm missing. So I'll go ahead and put the nuts and washers on these truss bolts, get those tightened up, and we'll be one step closer. Me. And the real test is going to be if this thing fits the car. Oh man. And then we got 6 of these. 6 of these. Let me start from the middle. It's got a neat little design. It's got a like a pin here on the end that causes the bull nose to rotate over and tighten up against the hood. It's kind of nice. All right, we're getting there now. Because I've repainted all of this stuff and there's paint and primer and whatnot in here, I'm going to pass a tap through it. So that's a 5/16 by 18. And it shouldn't be too bad, but we want it to be good and clean. So I'm not cleaning the metal, I'm trying to clean out the paint. I'm going to do this in 4 spots. Yeah, the bolt ought to go just fine. But I don't want to fight it at all. As a matter of fact, if you look, now that's gray. It was red before. Yeah, it's good and clean. I'll do the other side and that'll be that. All right, through the magic of the internet, it's actually the next day. I had to let that hood cure. I had to let the paint cure. I had to let that harden up because I really didn't want to take a chance. We might use some tape on it to protect the surfaces, but I've got everything laid out now. So I've got 4 5/16 inch bolts that are going to go into the hood. Then I've got 2 additional 3/8 inch bolts that are going to go into the to hold the hood hinge. So the hood hinge I have here, I have the springs off. So the hood hinge is going to have an adjustment here where you can raise this up and down, and then the hood you can slide this, because this hole is pretty big compared to the size of the bolt that goes in it. So really you have all of that adjustment in both of these. And one of the things that happens as we put this hood on, you'll start to see it, is that these two things can become cocked. So you'll end up with one that's kind of twisted this way and the other one twisted the other way or something, and they get in a bind. So you really have to play all this together. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and bolt this bracket, or this hinge, over to the firewall on the other side. You'll also notice I've got the springs. I don't have the springs on here. I've painted them. So they're ready to go, but I don't have them on here because I want to put the hood on, and I want to be able to adjust it without fighting the springs. At least I'll put the springs on afterwards. So, get this started. Notice I got the moving blankets in here to try to protect everything, just in case something gets away from us. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount both of these hinges high, so that gravity will allow them to just drop into place. So that, make sure that one's loose, raise it up. This one, raise it up. Actually, let me say it again. So when I tighten these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise these both up high, tighten them up, do the same thing on the other side, and that way, when we're ready to adjust the hood, we can let gravity do its job. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with the socket, tighten those up, and then we'll be ready to put the hood on. All right, I got them both mounted. So they're in place now, both sides. Not quite sure how high I'm going to have them. You know, probably something like this and bring the hood in. But let me show you something else. So earlier today, my son had his Mazda, and we just changed the CV joints. Changed the CV axle on the passenger side. Had all these loaner tools from AutoZone. But it means that lurking in the background, I have help. And I don't ever have help. I don't ever ask for help. I do everything by myself, but I was not about to risk this hood, so Cam's going to help me out get this thing bolted in place. All right, as a bit of an extra precaution, I put some tape on the corners and around the surfaces here so that the hinge doesn't scratch this. Same thing on this side, just roughshod, but I mean, just to make sure we get a little bit of extra protection so that as we're going back in place with this, it doesn't scratch it up too badly, if at all. And then I put some spare foam padding I had back here just in case, because I know what's going to happen is the weight of the hood's going to want to come back here and it's going to want to jam this. So I don't mind having this back here. I'll be able to get it out. But we're going to go ahead with it this way. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the hood 180 degrees, and then we're going to do a backflip with it. All right, here goes nothing. So I'm going to try to go backwards for this thing. Get some of those on. Let's see how we do it.
My side.
You look good. You look close. You look close.
This goes needs to go toward my side a little bit.
It needs to go to you?
Yeah, because it's sitting in the yeah.
Yeah? Alright.
Keep the weight up.
Can you get a bolt?
Yeah, keep the weight up.
Yeah, I got it. We can just get it started.
You holding it?
Yeah, I got it. I need to come closer to me. Up or down?
Keep it. Just the bolt is extra wiggly with the washer.
Yep. You got it? You got one started? Yeah. Come hold this up. I'll try to get my side in.
For the front?
Huh?
For the front bolt?
Yeah, come hold this up and I'll get my side started. Getting close. Oh yeah, the hood's gotta come way towards you. You got the front started?
Yeah.
Can you lower your side? Lower it, drop it. There you go, pull on. Oh, hood's gotta come towards me. Oh, it's so close. Got it started. I got one. All right, let's take a quick look at this. All right, we got one started. One started over there. All right, we're gonna continue fighting it. We'll get these two and then we'll come back to you in just a second. Cam's actually holding it up, and what he's doing, he's tilting it just right. So now he's just able to get this one just real quick. I really don't want to risk pinching my fingers in there. But yeah, now I gotta go get that side, and I think the same trick's gonna work. How close are we? Yeah, it's right there. Look at that. It's almost like it was made for this car. Who knew? Who'd have thunk? All right, so we got all the bolts started. All the bolts are started. Now what? Now maybe we need to do some thinking. All right, Cam talked me into putting the springs on now, so that's what I'm doing. It makes sense. So we got the hood raised all the way up. I gotta get it over here. Come on. There it went. All right. So I did not lose. No fingers were lost in that exercise. So now we've got everything in. I've got the hood slid up as far as I can, up as far as I can, and that way hopefully it won't grind in anything, but then this tapers, so it really needs to be, when this comes to the fender, I need to be very careful that it's not so far forward that it's going to pinch. So, but this is what I'm going to start with. All right, it's getting close. It's a little wide on this side, and it's tight on this side. It's also a little recessed on this side, and you can see here we're a little tight right there. So on this side I think we're looking good. We might be a little bit high, which is fine because we can adjust that down. But over there we've got some issues. So we're going to shove that side of the hood forward, and that should twist this and hopefully make this right. So I put a little pile of bituminous rubber here, tape, and I want to see what's going to happen when I close the hood and see how much clearance I actually have. Plenty. I was worried about that for nothing, so it's not even at risk of bumping any of that. All right, we got it. Closing nicely. Took a lot of work to get here. I'll show you a few little tricks, a few little things that I had to do. First off, the fit. It's a little wide over here, and it's a little tight over here. And what I'm hoping that the rubber bumpers, pretty sure there's rubber bumpers that go in the fender, which I can't find, and I think as soon as I put those in, it might guide this hood a little bit and get it centered. But that'll be looking nicely. But I got it lining up pretty good at the front. I had a problem with this nose piece, this bull nose. Ended up having to grind a lot of this because it was bumping. It was bumping down here. Had to grind a little bit here. I'm gonna have to touch that up to make sure it doesn't rust. But I had to grind some stuff there because it was bumping as I went to shut it. So now you can see it's closing well now. And another thing is these corners. These corners were riding high. They were, both of them. Both of them were riding high. And there's a trick to that. In fact, the trick works so well, I'm going to do a short little video on just that, but let me show you what it is. So if you have a problem that when you close your hood, And back here, this thing is sitting up, and you're constantly coming over here and pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down. And you can never get it to close. Trick is to put a shim on the forward bolt. So you're tilting this way, and what that's going to do is that's going to force this corner down. I have an 1/8 and a 1/16 on this forward bolt, and on this side I think I have just an 1/8 inch on this one, so that when you close it, those two corners, they come down. So I'm going to do another video that shows just how that looks when it's riding high. But that's it. Pretty satisfied with it. But that's going to do it. So, do hope you got something out of it. Hope you liked the video. Hope it was entertaining, if anything. That's going to do it for this episode. So, as always, if you're enjoying my videos, please give them a thumbs up. And if you're enjoying the channel, as always, I'd love a subscription. So, until I see you next time, please take care of yourself. Cheers.